On a night when the sky bled crimson, the moon hung low like a wound torn open in the heavens. The villagers of Adikrom whispered of omens. Birds refused to fly. The wind went dead. Thunder roared without lightning. And inside a small clay hut at the edge of the village, a woman cried out in labor. Akojua, a young woman known for her quiet strength, clutched the mat beneath her. Sweat poured down her face as midwives surrounded her, praying under their breath. The storm outside grew louder, yet the air inside the hut held a sacred stillness. As she gave her final push, the baby slipped into the world with no cry. Only wide open, glowing golden eyes. The child stared directly into the midwives' faces. They froze, then slowly backed away. Outside, the family dog began to howl, and birds crashed into roofs as if blind. The midwives refused to touch the child. One ran. The others whispered that no mortal had ever been born under the blood moon, and certainly not a child who glowed. They named her Efua. As she learned to walk, Efua would wander barefoot to the center of the market square. She never cried, never laughed, only pointed at things no one else could see. At age 3, she pointed at a tall tree and whispered, "It will fall." A week later, it did. That was when the whispering started, not just among the people, but in the wind. By 10, Efua had grown quieter than ever. She sat at the edge of the village markets, watching. Always watching. She saw things others couldn't, red glowing numbers floating above people's heads like faded lanterns. The village butcher, for example, had 7 years above him. The baker's wife had 42 days. She said nothing. She kept to herself, her golden eyes now a familiar discomfort to many. The other children avoided her. Even her own father, Kwaku, could no longer meet her gaze. At night, her mother would watch her sleep, placing protective charms under her pillow. But her grandmother, Nanaya, never wavered. Nanaya was the oldest woman in the village, white-haired, nearly blind, and full of stories older than memory. She would sit by the fire, surrounded by children, weaving tales of spirits, talking drums, and forests that could trap time itself. Efua would sit by her knee, never speaking, but always listening, and sometimes, just sometimes, finishing a story before Nanaya did. "You've been here before," Nana once whispered. Efua looked at her, and for the first time, she smiled. On her 14th birthday, Efua had a dream that wasn't a dream. She stood atop a mountain of bones under a sky on fire. Stars fell like rain. And from the burning horizon, a woman floated toward her. The woman was veiled in white, her face hidden behind cowrie shells that clicked together in rhythm. Behind her hung a shattered celestial clock, its hands spinning wildly. It stopped suddenly. It read, 20 days. 4 hours. 17 minutes. When Efua woke, she found those numbers burned into the wall beside her mat, drawn in charcoal she did not remember touching. That night, a presence stood above her as she slept. Its breath smelled of dust and old songs. It whispered in no known language, and yet Efua understood. The world was ending. And she was the one who could stop it. The next morning, Efua walked through the cassava fields as if called. The wind didn't touch the plants. It only circled her, speaking in murmurs. Faces formed in the dust, lips moved in vines, and her name echoed on leaves. At home, she opened her palm and found a red spiral glowing faintly beneath her skin. That day, while helping an old woman pick spilled plantains, Efua glanced up. The number above the woman's head blinked urgently, 3 days. Later, the drum tree, ancient and petrified, began to beat on its own. No one dared approach, except Efua. She stepped forward, the spiral in her hand glowing like an ember. She touched the bark. The beat stopped. The wind howled once and fled. Silence fell over the village. The elders turned to her, not with anger, but with dread. The elders called a meeting, but Efua was already gone. Led by a voice older than language, she returned to the drum tree. Placing her palm against the rough wood, she was pulled into a vision. She stood in a violet sky beneath 6 floating drums, each guarded by an ancestral spirit. The drums beat rhythms of time, war, death, and memory. One by one, they acknowledged her. That night, Naneya summoned her. In the firelight of her heart, she touched Efua's face gently. "You must go east," she said. "There's a forest that remembers the beginning. It may show you the end." Efua nodded, kissed her grandmother's hand, and vanished before dawn. Efua found the forest after 3 days of walking. The trees leaned unnaturally. Time there didn't flow, it circled. They bled into night and back again. She walked until she met a boy. He was mute. He wore a thin tunic and had a black tattoo of 3 dots beneath one eye. His name was Kwe, and he communicated only through signs. He could see into the past, into every step you had taken. Later, they found Senna, a fire-eyed girl with beads in her hair. She was fierce, impatient, and had the ability to read flames, to see what was yet to come. Together, the 3 walked the vine-lit path into the heart of the forest, following the faint pulse of the spiral in Efua's hand. Beneath the roots of an ancient baobab tree, the ground trembled. The trio unearthed a black stone tablet glowing with Adinkra symbols. Efua pressed her palm to it, and the spiral in her hand lit the carvings into flame. 7 signs rose before them, hovering in air. The moon shall bleed. The river shall vanish. The wind shall howl backward. The stars shall blink and vanish. Children shall be born without shadows. The drums shall beat without hands. A girl shall speak. And the world shall listen. Efua collapsed in tears. 6 had already come. She had only days left to fulfill the 7th. They returned to Adikram. Everything had changed. The river had turned to dust. The moon hovered blood-red and low. The stars winked out one by one. A newborn cast no shadow. Efua climbed the central platform and spoke for the first time in public. 3 days. Her voice carried not just sound, but gravity. The villagers wailed. Some begged for her to save them. Others called her a curse. But no one walked away. For the first time, the entire village listened. Chapter 9: The Choice of Sacrifice. That night, Efua returned to the dreamscape, the void between worlds. The spirit woman stood before her again, cowries clicking softly. You must choose, she said. If you leave, the world ends. If you give yourself, it continues. But they will never remember you. Efua closed her eyes. She thought of her mother, her grandmother, Kwe, Senna, the butcher, the woman with the plantains, even her father. Would the world be at peace, she asked. For a time, said the spirit. Efua placed a glowing hand on her chest. Then I give myself. At sunrise, Efua stood alone atop a hill outside the village. The sky cracked with light. The wind circled her in a spiral. Her golden eyes glowed like stars. Her chest erupted with pure light. Kwe and Senna knelt far below. Villagers watched as a beam shot upward, clearing the sky, restoring the stars, reviving the river. The moon turned white once more. The drum tree beat once, then never again. In the center of the square, a single white flower bloomed. No one remembered the girl. No one knew her name. But when the wind rustled the leaves just right, it whispered, Efua. Efua's story reminds us that true courage isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's the quiet choice to do what's right, even when no one will remember your name. It teaches us the power of sacrifice, the beauty of selflessness, and the quiet strength found in listening to the voice within. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like, share it with someone who loves African tales, and leave a comment below to tell us what you learned. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another powerful story from our land. Your support keeps these stories alive.